think you're too low. Get with it already. Well, hello again, guys. Thank you so much for coming back, for joining me. We are going to embark on a little bit of a journey here. Mostly a restoration journey. We might get into little tiny bits of modification. I'm going to try to hold the guy down as much as I can, just because of my personal preferences. But at the end of the day, the owner gets what the owner wants, right? This is a 1940 Chevrolet pick-em-up truck. All original drivetrain, at least as far as I know. We'll get into more of that as we go along, as we disassemble. The guy's vision for it is to keep it looking mostly stock. He even wants to retain the front axle, solid axle. He said to me he wanted a more modern drivetrain, a little more power, a little more speed, but he's not interested in anything crazy. However, if we do that on these old torque tube models, that means you change everything, right? You've got to change, say you want a small block Chevy, you've got to go to a small block Chevy bolt pattern transmission, you've got to go to an open drive shaft, you've got to go to an updated rear axle. And I'll bring you in closer as we progress here. But to me, there's nothing more interesting and exciting to open the hood and see a Stow-Bolt Chevy rather than a V8 under here. So I understand where the guy's coming from. We'll see what happens. I think personally it would be really cool to end up with something, a 235 and play with the rear end gears, and we could get plenty of speed. We could even go up to a 261, gain that much more horsepower and torque. Again, play with the gears in the rear end, and you would have all the power you would ever need to roll down the highway. If that's not his vision, if he's absolutely set on a much more modern drivetrain, then we'll get into that. But we got to tear it down first. Our trim tag is all but wiped clean, but we do have a 40 on there. So, and with the belt line, the style that it is, we're pretty sure that's what we got, right? The grill, unfortunately, is absolutely hammered. We're gonna have to find a replacement or find parts. Headlights also. Maybe, it would take a lot of work. We could straighten some of this. I think the hood ornament's pretty much all right. We're missing the lower portion of the right-hand hood. Stainless looks halfway decent on it. Needs some dents pulled out. We got our marker lights, missing a lens on that side. We've got our work cut out for us. This piece is split wide open there. Again, hood trim is pretty nice on the hood side. That latch seems to be frozen. Our cab is quite beat up and quite rotten, you might say. So evidently we've had some mice packing that front piece, because there'd be really no other reason for that to rot out. Remember, I did bring home a 39 cab. That belt line matches, and that may be kind of a blessing when it comes to this project. We'll see what we come up with, but that could be an option where we come in and cut our A-pillars from our A-pillars down to somewhere else here. We got a little rot behind the rear corner there, so we could graft in parts of the cab. 39, at 40, we've gone to the rectangular speedometer, to the dash is different, and so we would have to retain this and cut out the 39s. However we need to do it. Whatever. I think all the fenders have some amount of damage. We got torch welds there, the good old boys. This running board looks pretty well usable. Bedside, somebody came in and welded pipe. I like that they even kept the female coupler on here, you know, why not? I don't know if they were tying down the chickens going to market or what they were doing. I don't think that fender's welded on, but it is bashed in, and then he had straps bolted going up to here. So evidently it was it had lost all support. Original tailgate's there, a little bit beat up here and there. Got one of our bumpers, missing the other. No bedwood. This thing had your typical farmerized diamond plate tread steel welded in it, and he came in here and cut all of that out before he brought it to me. So we'll be putting a wood kit in it, definitely. Got quite a rip in the rear. I don't see anything that absolutely can't be fixed. This running board's looking pretty good. We got some creases and some damage tucked in there, you know. Here's the worst of the cab. Windshield frame's hanging in there, the glass is cracked. Missing a wiper. Seal's completely shot. Another weld, torch weld, more damage. Trailer tire. Under the hood, we're looking very complete, and one would assume very original. Not 100% sure yet. We certainly have a 216 with a tall side cover going all the way from down at the distributor surface up to the valve cover. That is a 216. The old school acorn nuts on the valve cover holding it down. And I would love to make that look brand new in this engine bay. We'll see. We'll see where we go with it. That absolutely just refuses to budge, so we'll have to take a look at that later. If I can put it in the door here. And this is what we got left of the interior. This door's looking pretty solid. Maybe a little bit of leg rash, you know. Maybe a little kicked in there. Missing the floorboards, missing the seat. Fuel tanks in it. Unknown condition. Steering wheel's full of cracks. Good old top loader. Parking brake. Pedal assembly. What is that? Do we have a Kleenex dispenser? Neat old heater. And this is what we're looking like. So I really have no particular goals as far as this video goes of what to achieve with you here today. This is such a long, drawn-out process, as most of you are very well aware, that I kind of just have to bring you along for my process and bring you along for the ride. We have a lot of decisions to make, as I was talking about earlier, between me and the owner, and if he's adamant that he wants a small block, an LS, what have you, then we need to make decisions based on that. You know, do I go spend $5,000 on a Ford 9-inch rear axle that's set up, or for instance, do I find something like a second generation Camaro rear axle, which should be about right, and save a lot of money there, and just kind of update it. If he wants posi in it, we put posi in it, whatever the case is. All of that has to be discussed, and he kind of had, when I first met with him and talked with him about it, he kind of had an idea, yeah, I want to go this direction, but as far as particulars, he had nothing in mind. So, I actually thought, believe it or not, I actually thought the early 2000s Trailblazer powertrain would be really cool in here. You would at least retain the inline six, and you get some crazy power out of those things. It just depends on how high you want to go with horsepower. But I'm not sure that's what he has in mind. Anyway, so for the sake of this video, we are going to start. I've already started taking pictures. I'm going to get a notepad out, keep the phone rolling and clicking, and we are going to start disassembly, writing things down that we need as we go, documenting things, and I will bring you just along for the ride. We are going to start with sheet metal, probably the bed, and move our way forward. So let's just dive in. Now I have the feeling that this is going to be one of those broken bolt extravaganzas. That's okay. We've been there before. Hardware from the front of the fender to the running board taken off. Some broke, some didn't. You know, that's just how it goes. Now I've got 4 or 5 machine screws along the connection between the bedside and the fender to get off, and they're just a slotted head screw. There's no way I'm going to have enough grip with just a screwdriver. So we're going to heat the square nuts up cherry red, give ourselves the best advantage here. Then we'll see what happens. If I have to cut them, we'll cut them. Okay, so what a guy's gonna do now, I'm just gonna go through and start removing our bedwood metal strips that went in between the bedwood, and I'm just gonna come in here and start cutting these old bolts. It's not gonna be very exciting, so I'm gonna get all that junk out of here, and then I'm gonna cut. We have probably 6 of these bed mounts in here, and the carriage bolts are all deteriorated anyway. It's all going to get replaced, so I'm going to cut those out, and then we should be ready to lift this box off of here. So I'll be right back with you. Hold on. Here lie the mortal remains of Mr. Chevy bed. Overall, not too bad. There's some rough patches, you know. Overall, it's in very good, solid shape. It needs a lot of straightening on about every piece. And there are some odds and ends on the flanges where things bolted together. The rear posts on the rear corners there are a little tattered and rusty on the bottom ends. But overall, we have something to work with. And the tailgate, you know, that's always a debate whether it's really worth trying to fix, or you just spend the money and buy a repop on that. This one, it has a lot of extra iron that's been welded to it through the years. So we can tear it down, cut off all the patch jobs and see what lies underneath, and maybe we can make something out of it. Maybe it's just best to try to find a different one. I don't know. That's the majority of what I'm going to do on this video. I think maybe we will, why don't we tackle the front fenders and the running boards, try to get all the pontoons taken off this thing, and that's where we'll end it. Let's go do that. Well, in order to get to some fasteners that I need to get to down in the fender here, I need to get down through the grill, and I can't get down through the grill until I get this little cover off. I can't get the cover off till I get the hood off. So, guess I'm switching gears here.
It's shake and bake, and I helped.
Okay, there's a few things I want to take a little bit closer look at here before we go. First of all, we put a light on here, we can see the original blue, kind of one of your standard good old standbys, right? From back in the day. Not too surprised about that. The owner wants gray, and I believe he's thinking a lighter gray. Don't think he's necessarily thinking silver. He said gray. There were certainly some options. If not, I'd have to look specifically for 40. Right around that era, certainly on the cars, if not the pickups, but I'm guessing you could get it on the pickups. Should have done a little bit of research beforehand, huh? Yeah, there are options. In fact, in 41, there were my favorite year model of Chevy Passenger. There was a two-tone option for grays. So, in fact, someday I would love to own one in that two-tone combination. Also, two-tone blues. I just love the two-tone in that year model. Anyway, so that's what this is. The stamping on the engine, of course, I believe our casting number is behind the starter, so we're not going to get to that right now. But from limited information that's at my fingertips from here on a phone, the serial number 3638113, that would fall in line anyway with what I'm seeing as regards to a 1940 engine. So very likely that this could be the original 216 to this pickup. If not, it would be a numbers matching unit anyway, no matter what the case. We get to looking at most of our wiring. You know, we got a couple, the coil wire and one wire here has been replaced with rubber. Everything else is braided. This thing is a very decrepit, but very almost original example. Got the horn hanging out there yet on the intake. Got the Carter W1. Fuel lines are all real nice and straight. Speedometer wire. And I wanted to see if we could read the odometer. And it says 88,718, I believe. Could that be original? I don't know. It's very likely it could be. You know, if that was original miles, the engine was never touched, then yeah, it would certainly have been time for, it certainly would have been worn out at 88,000 miles, let's say that. I was trying to see if there's a brand name. Apparently this guy drank some beer, huh? You got a can opener right on your key, you got a problem. I seriously doubt he was opening Campbell's soup with it. Anyway, just another look in here. Very, 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 very corroded. Got our work cut out for us. Sills are solid. Kind of an interesting anomaly. The top side of the cab is solid, or the top side is rotten, the bottom side is solid. Looks to me like back here it was repainted green at one time. We've got some gray primer showing through. We got a big run right there. You can see the original blue in the center where they couldn't reach it with the paintbrush. And they just threw that green on there, huh? Looks like maybe a silver belt line.
like I was saying, I kind of forgot what I was talking about. He wants it light gray, and then the fenders and the running boards will be black, which ought to look pretty classy. And if he gives me free rein, I'm probably going to go after the original light gray paint codes from this time period. So I think that's all we have to see right now.
Where am I? Nevada. Well, guys, that's going to do it for this time around. We got the majority of our sheet metal off. Now it's time for me to find a place to store it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Next time on this project, we are going to strip down the cab, remove it, and get that phase completed. So be sure to join me for that. If you're new here, if this video brought you to this channel, be sure to subscribe, and you will be kept up on all the various projects we have going on around here. Yeah, I got to figure out where I am. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one. Well, now it says Montana, I think.